Dear students, today I will be discussing the various efforts and initiatives the independent government of India had taken for the development of radio from immediate independence to the first three 5 year plans of India. The government's attitudes towards making radio as an effective and viable medium of communication will also be discussed. Lastly, I will also highlight the problems and issues faced by the people associated and issues and demands of people, especially from the countryside. So, without wasting any more time, I will get into this quickly. Prior to the plan development, in the wake of independence, India had only six radio stations. They were Delhi, Bombay, Calcutta, Madras, Lucknow, and Tiruchi. Therefore, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, as Minister of Information and Broadcasting, had felt the requirement of building large number of radio stations around the corners of the country to expand its reach. The plan that had been drawn up before independence had to be changed. The Ministry of Information and Broadcasting drew up an 8 year plan involving an estimated outlay of rupees 3.64 crores. Pending its implementation, an interim scheme was undertaken for the immediate installation of low power pilot stations. Immediately after the independence, due to the partition of country, it was realized that the immediate necessity was to serve the refugees coming from the Pakistan side. Hence, with immediate effect, a hasty and temporary station was set up and inaugurated at Jalandhar on November 1, 1947 by Sri Chandulal Trivedi, Governor of Punjab. The next station was opened at Jammu on December 1, 1947. Although All India Radio had given technical and other assistance, the station was operated by Jammu and Kashmir government. A similar arrangement was also made when Srinagar station was inaugurated on July 1, 1948. Patna station was inaugurated by Sardar Patil on January 26, 1948. Cuttack station was started 2 days later on January 28, 1948. Guwahati Shillong station was also opened to serve the state of Assam on July 1, 1948. The main studio and the transmitter was at Guwahati with an auxiliary studio operating in Shillong. On July 16, 1948, Nagpur started as a new station. On December 1, 1948, Vijayawada, then in the Madras state, started operating. On December 16, 1948, the station at Baroda, one of the prominent former princely states, merged with All India Radio. During 1948, 49 and 1950. The pace set up immediately after freedom was not sustained in 1949, in which only two stations were opened, Allahabad on February 1, 1949 and Ahmedabad on April 16, 1949. The activity was slow in 1950 also, with only Dharwar coming up on January 8, 1950 and Kajikote on 14 May. However, on April 1st, four stations belonging to the former princely states were integrated with All India Radio. They were Hyderabad, Aurangabad, Mysore, and Trivandrum. At the end of 1950, the All India Radio network was in a position to serve listeners in all regional languages, but the medium wave service reached only 21% of India's population and 12% of its area. However, several important regions like Rajasthan, Saurashtra, Madhya Pradesh, and Himachal Pradesh had no station to serve them. Additionally, the eastern region too did not have a radio station. Radio under the first 5 year plan. India adopted the first 5 year plan starting on April 1, 1951 to March 31, 1956. In its first 5 year plan period, no such importance was given to the growth of radio as it was not mentioned in the People's Edition of the 5 year plan brought out in January 1953. Broadcasting was figured only in the appendix giving statistical tables under the head Transport and Communications. The only sum of rupees 3.52 crores were provided for the development of the broadcasting. The amount was subsequently raised to 4.94 crores, but only 2 crores and 19 lakhs out of this grant could be utilized. The projects completed during the first plan included several new stations. Pune was inaugurated on October 2, 1953. The station at Srinagar and Jammu, which were being run by the state governments, were taken over by All India Radio on April 13 and December 16, 1954 respectively. The other stations opened during 1955 were Rajkot on January 3, Jaipur on April 9, Indore on May 22, Simla on June 16, Bangalore November 2, Ajmer on December 11. Apart from the new stations open, the first 5-year plan saw the raising of the strength of several transmitters, which enabled them to provide a stronger and more widely listened to signal in several regions. At the end of the first 5-year plan, All India Radio was able to cover about 50% of the population and 30% of the country's area with a medium wave service, though the reception was not first great at all places. The second 5-year plan between 1956 to 1961. According to the Planning Commission, the objectives for broadcasting during the second 5-year plans were to extend the services now available for all the languages to as wide an area as it is at present possible to reach. For areas in which terrain conditions are difficult, shortwave transmitters are to be established to meet the growing demands of national programs, and for ensuring countrywide listenings of national broadcast, a 100 kilowatt shortwave transmitter as well as a 100 kilowatt medium wave transmitter will be set up in Delhi. External services will also be expanded. A total of 8 crores was sanctioned for the development of broadcasting for the second 5-year plan period, but the actual amount spent was 5 crores and 67 lakhs. 3 new stations were opened during this period: Bhopal on October 31st, 1956, Trichur on November 4, 1956, and Ranchi on July 27th, 1957. In 1957, a 100 kilowatt shortwave transmitter was installed at Bombay, and another 100 kilowatt shortwave transmitter went into operation at Madras. These two were used for part of the time by the external services, and for the rest to give country coverage to the new All India variety programs of light music, which is Vivid Bharati, started on October 3, 1957, with Delhi and other stations relaying this program for short periods. Other developments during this period included the setting up of an auxiliary station studio at Chandigarh on April 9, 1957. A new 100 kilowatt medium wave transmitter at Guwahati on May 3rd, 1957, and a 100 kilowatt medium wave transmitter at Delhi on January 31st, 1960. A special daily program beam to Andaman and Nicobar Islands was started from Delhi on Independence Day in 1959. Much later, on June 2, 1963, these islands got their station. At the end of the second 5-year plan period, 55% of the population and 37% of the country's area were being served by medium wave broadcasting. The third 5-year plan between April 1st, 1961 to March 31st, 1966. The third 5-year plan was the most ambitious of the plans so far, with an allocation of 14 crores rupees. Although the fund allocated for broadcasting was lesser than the fund allocated to tourism in this plan period. The emphasis was on the rapid expansion of medium wave transmitters in many of the existing stations, and also to open in the areas which had no stations. It was also aimed at encouraging the production and use of low-cost single band medium wave receiving sets, which, being cheaper than multi-wave sets, could come within the purchasing power of people with small incomes. A large number of 1 kilowatt medium wave transmitters were to be set up at selected urban centers to carry the light variety programs. in Vivid Bharati as alternative listening to the main stations. Arrangements were also to be made to strengthen the facilities for pre-recording of programs with an eye on the needs of the Vivid Bharati network and the so-called satellite centers, which are to have no studio facilities but would only relay the news and put out recordings of programs prepared at the present stations. The plans drawn up in 1960 had to be changed considerably due to the Chinese attack in October 1962, which exposed the inadequacy of broadcasting facilities in the eastern border areas. The priorities were therefore revised. The projects as actually completed in the third five-year plans included a new station at Korsiang, which was inaugurated on June 2nd, 1962, with a 2 kilowatt shortwave transmitter. Usually, medium wave transmitters were provided for local coverage, but the use of shortwave transmitter instead was considered more appropriate on account of the hilly nature of the terrain. After some time, the 2 kilowatt shortwave transmitter was replaced by a 20 kilowatt shortwave transmitter. Other new stations were Kohima 1 kilowatt medium wave on January 4th, 1963. Although this had not been included in the plan as originally drawn up, Impal, the capital of Manipur, where only a studio had been set up on January 25th, 1963, was upgraded to a proper station on August 15, 1963, operating on 1 kilowatt medium wave. Port Blair 1 kilowatt medium wave to serve the Andaman and Nicobar Islands started on June 2, 1962. Pasighat station commenced on March 3, 1966 at 250 watts medium wave, and Bhuj operating on a 10 kilowatt medium wave transmitter started regular broadcast on October 10, 1965. The Bhuj station covered the district of Kutch of Gujarat, serving a population of about 10 lakhs. On one development occurred beyond the plan when Radio Goa was officially merged with All India Radio on April 1st, 1963. As many as 26 Vivid Bharati centers, each with a transmitter of 1 kilowatt medium wave, were set up during the third five-year plan period, which, along with the transmitters of varying strength installed at the satellite centers to expand the coverage of the primary medium wave service, added up to a tremendous amount of work on the part of the engineering and other staff. Taking the big and small transmitters all into account, it meant one transmitter installed almost every 3 weeks, a notable feat of sustained and dedicated labor. At the end of the third five-year plan period, All India Radio's medium wave service covered 70% of India's population and 52% of its area, a considerable improvement over the previous five-year plan. On analyzing the development and various factors involving the growth of broadcasting in India, for the first three five-year plans, it was realized that the mere transmission of programs made hundreds of miles away could never reflect the needs or satisfy the cultural urges of the local population. Despite the demands for the local contents in the programming, they were continuously denied. Demand for all such satellite or auxiliary station should have at least one or two studios for producing programs of local interest. Another issue that came up was the technical difficulties faced by the people producing the programs, which were not understood and their advice was disregarded entirely. It was also felt that the decisions and money invested in the development of broadcasting were done hurriedly and accepted without proper examination. The broadcasting continues to be under urban oriented, and the government seemed to be well aware of this issue. However, their emphasis has been made on encouraging the sale of seats and consequent quantum of license fees collected by concentrating on thickly populated areas. As a result, listeners from countryside had been on receiving side of the relative neglect of programming contents, because the purchasing power of this section of people has always been lower than in big towns and cities. Thank you.